Good afternoon, and thank you for being here, and thank you for the important work you do in keeping Calgarians informed. This is the June 24th update from the Emergency Operations Centre, we will hear today from Mayor Jyoti Gondek, Calgary Emergency Management Agency Chief Susan Henry, Calgary Fire Department Acting Chief Def Bergeson, and City of Calgary Infrastructure Services General Manager Michael Thompson. Following the update, you'll have an opportunity to ask some questions. Please identify yourself, the outlet you represent, and for whom your question is for. We would ask that you limit yourself to one question, one follow. And with that, I'll turn it over to the Mayor.
Thank you. Oki, Daranastada, Umbawastich, Tanse, and good afternoon, everyone. Work to restore the feeder main has reached a very important week, with the installing of pipe and backfilling of excavations expected soon. Once that's done, crews can begin testing and returning the feeder main to full service. When the team is ready to add water to the pipe, it's going to be a staged easing of getting that pipe, as well as the rest of the system, back up to normal operation. It's an important step in fixing the pipe quickly, but also safely, and ensuring that we restore water in the best manner possible for Calgarians. Tomorrow, during the strategic meeting of Council, where our future budgets are going to be our primary focus, I'll be asking for a clear understanding of the budget that's required for the technology and monitoring systems that we need moving forward, and to secure the safety and integrity of our water infrastructure. This work I will do with Council will also help to inform our neighbours in other cities Canada-wide. Those cities will benefit from not only our independent review of this incident, but also our advocacy. Tomorrow, my office will be connecting with the Federation of Canadian Municipalities to identify how we can provide leadership for the critical need to address stressed municipal infrastructure in cities across this nation. I'd like to thank the good people of Calgary, Airdrie, Tsuut'ina Nation, Chestermere, and Strathmore for how you have banded together over the last few weeks. You've been able to conserve an average of 22% less water than usual. And that's not quite the quarter that we were hoping for, but we're almost there. And I know that you continue to dig deeper and find more ways to save water. At the same time, our crews at the Glenmore Water Treatment Facility have been doing heroes work in making sure that water is getting to every community. Yesterday, you used 462 million liters of water. That is higher than our target, but it's also lower than the threshold. And as we've been saying, conserving water is essential to making sure that we have enough water in situations where there are life-saving efforts needed, either in hospital or care facilities or in firefighting missions. Like overnight, there was a 2-alarm fire in the community of Prestwick in a condo building, and it caused the evacuation of dozens of families. And I'm very thankful that no one was injured in this. The Calgary Fire Department was able to put that fire out, but they had to use more than 3 million liters of water to do so. Watching the video of flames coming out of the top of that condo building as neighbors looked on with shock and concern, it made me think, what would have happened if those hoses had run dry in the middle of that firefighting mission? Fortunately, that didn't happen, and it's due to your small sacrifices. Every time you turn off the water when you're brushing your teeth, or you limit the time to wash your hands, or you only run the dishwasher when it's full, you are saving water that's needed for important situations like the one we had last night. And for those of you who haven't been able to collect rainwater at home, and I know this has been on a lot of Calgarians' minds, you have the opportunity now to get untreated water from 6 locations within the city, and those are all available to you at calgary.ca. There is a map that shows you all the places you can go, and that water can be used for gardens, for flowers, and for indoor and outdoor plants. That water is not to be used for drinking, as it is untreated, and if you need more information, again, make sure you go to calgary.ca. With that, I'm going to turn things over to CEMA Chief Sue Henry.
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us today. I'd like to start by saying my thoughts are with the many people displaced from their home because of a significant condo complex structure fire last evening. Thank you to our colleagues at the Calgary Fire Department for their dedication and work in keeping those residents safe. Chief Bergeson will speak in a few minutes about the fire operations in Prestwick, but this is a sober reminder of why our water conservation efforts are so important, as the water-saving efforts leave enough for critical uses such as fires and hospitals. As of the result of the fire, we were able to see an impact on our system. The community is supplied out of the South Glenmore Reservoir, and with the help of water crews, we were able to maintain levels in the reservoir to an acceptable level throughout the night. The water-saving efforts that everyone has made have allowed us to respond to this large fire and still have adequate storage to continue supporting other essential usage. Progress is continuing at the site, and restoring city water supply as quickly and safely as possible is so crucial. Significant repair progress was made over the weekend. All necessary pipes and materials are now on site, with our efforts focused on installing the pipe, welding, and backfilling. We were also able to reopen the remaining lanes of 16th Avenue Northwest, where the original break occurred west of Home Road, which has allowed the Monday commute to operate a little smoother. Thank you to Calgarians, to businesses, as well as our city facilities and partners for the sacrifices that are being made. Consistently, our water use numbers are showing that you are making a difference. With the higher temperatures and outdoor restrictions, we recognize the significant use of water that people require to do outdoor activities. We have 6 water locations across the city where we are able to have citizens go and collect non-potable water. We acknowledge that at one of our sites, the water truck and trailer were delayed by an hour yesterday, and it caused some people to wait in the heat. We appreciate your patience, and the high demand for these sites is underscoring the importance of this service. A couple of quick reminders. If you are going to these sites, please make sure that you're carrying a bucket, which you are going to be able to carry. Make sure that you have adequate jugs to carry those in, and bring your own containers with you. Please avoid taking water directly from the river. We want to ensure your safety. We don't want anyone to slip on rocks while carrying these heavy buckets, and this is why we're bringing the river closer to you. If you collect this water, I want to please emphasize that this water is not potable, which means it is not safe for drinking, and we do have some safety tips at calgary.ca. For the bylaw numbers for today, for those people that are not complying with the water and fire restrictions, our bylaw officers remain in the community responding to calls for service and issuing warning and violation tickets. Officers have had 2,620 water misuse calls since June the 6th. 820 verbal warnings have been issued, and 17 violation tickets have been issued. We've had a total of 209 calls for service regarding the fire ban, which have resulted in 21 written warnings, 81 verbal warnings, and 5 violation tickets. Our 311 team has taken 8,781 calls related to the water event. Some of those are answering questions, and some of those are addressing concerns. Once again, thank you to Calgarians, to businesses, and everyone that is working hard to reduce our water use. Your efforts are making an impact, and they're greatly appreciated by everyone at the city. I know everyone is looking forward to resuming service, and we're working hard to make that happen as quickly as possible in a safe and responsible way. Until then, thank you for your continued water-saving efforts and sacrifices, and every drop counts. I will now pass over to Chief Deb Bergeson to give us an update on the operations from the fire last evening.
Thanks, Chief Henry. Yes, we had a fire last night, approximately 10 o'clock p.m., a 4-story condo building in the community of Prestwick. We had multiple apparatus respond, and we did call a 2-alarm fire that ended up at one point having 22 apparatus on scene. Over the 2 periods, the operational periods over the night, we've had 39 apparatus on scene and 86 fire personnel. Of course, as we're responding to fires these days, it's always a little bit of a hesitancy for us as we consider what kind of water that we're going to get out of those hydrants. Our crews were able to tie into those hydrants, and thanks to the water preservation and I suppose the efforts of Calgarians to make sure that the reservoir levels were adequate, we were able to have the water that we needed to fight those fires. We did have 3 elevated streams, which means large, tall ladder trucks pouring a lot of water onto that scene. And fortunately, we did have the water supply that we required to do that. Thank you again. Again, firefighters were able to hold the fire despite the very strong north wind that took that fire from the 3rd floor, the point of origin, to the attic area, the 4th floor, and blew it throughout the building. And that's why we had significant damage. From my understanding, we have 48 suites in that building, and we evacuated over 100 people from that building alone. To be safe as well, we evacuated the buildings that were in the vicinity, and there were hundreds of people sent to a parking lot close by where we were able to accommodate them and to have Red Cross assess their needs. So thank you to Calgary Transit that was there with waiting buses, and fortunately the weather was good for us last night. Our crews were there within 5.5 minutes on scene, and from all calculations, as we consider the water flow through the various hoses and the tower apparatus that we had on scene, we used approximately 3 million liters of water last night. Again, much of that safety to our firefighters and safety to the people that we were evacuating should be attributed to the people who are saving water for us to do our job. Thank you. From our understanding as well, there were 39 folks who were accommodated through Red Cross, including 3 dogs, and they will be accommodated for a few days as we try to get them alternate arrangements, and we are letting people back into the adjacent buildings as of late last night. So that's it from Calgary Fire, reporting on the big fire last night, which was one of those things that we feared. We feared a large fire in a time of water restrictions, and it turned out very successfully. What made it most successful is that there were no injuries. Now I'll turn it over to General Manager Michael Thompson.
Good afternoon, everyone. It was a busy weekend at the multiple construction sites on 16th Avenue Northwest, and I'm pleased to say we're progressing as per schedule for the repair. I was on site this morning, and I'm happy to report that all materials are on site, and today is another big welding day. We are now focused on completing the installation of the pipe, welding, and then we will start the backfilling process to cover the pipe and fill the holes which we have been digging. At the site where we are reinforcing the pipe rather than replacing it, the concrete is curing and the forms will be removed today, and we will prepare to backfill that site. You may notice work slowing down above ground as we strive towards a quick and safe repair. The repair is only one of the initial steps required to restore water service to Calgarians. We are now entering a critical phase as crews prepare to bring the pipe back into service, including the filling, flushing, and testing to support the safe return to service. When the original break happened, there was a rapid depressurization in the pipe. We need to ensure we take all the necessary steps to introduce water back into the pipe while we monitor closely for any additional issues. Tomorrow, we'll share more information with you about this process, the current plans in place, the risks involved, and the contingencies we've developed. Work is progressing, but we're not out of the woods yet as we enter this phase. I'd like to acknowledge the dedication and commitment of our city staff, consultants, and contractors who continue to work around the clock to complete these repairs as quickly and safely as possible. We understand that the detours and construction impacts commuters and the communities surrounding the sites. As I said yesterday, I'd like to remind you that all businesses on 16th Avenue Northwest have access and are open for business. We continue to thank you for your patience and planning as we all support this repair. I'll now hand it back over to Mayor Gondek.
Thank you, GM Thompson, and thank you, Acting Chief, for giving us an update on what happened with the fire situation last night. Our hearts are with the families, and we're thankful that nobody was injured. Now, to recap for you, repair work is moving along at a very good pace, and we also have a robust contingency plan in place if it's needed. Our teams have thoughtfully planned out a staged approach to return the feeder main back to service in a safe manner and one that requires testing pressure, testing water flow, and testing for water quality. And I'm also working on getting a stronger budget in place so that we can secure the safety of our infrastructure, while at the same time making sure an incident like this doesn't catch any other cities off guard. That's all part of the work that I'm doing with my colleagues on City Council, as well as within departments of the City of Calgary, to return our water system back to full capacity and ensure that you have reassurance that our water system in our city is secure. Until then, I urge you all to keep up your conservation measures. One less toilet flush, one shorter shower, only washing the essentials. These are things that you have been doing for the last many days, and I encourage you to keep this up until we can get things back to regular operation. And I also look forward to seeing how Calgarians are using the non-potable or untreated water that you're collecting to make sure that our flower beds, our gardens, and our general greenery in our city stays beautiful. I will have more information on the progress of the feeder main repair as well as water usage tomorrow morning at 8:30 via live stream, and then we will all be back here tomorrow at the Emergency Operations Center at 2 o'clock to give you more updates. And with that, I will turn things over to Jose to field questions from the media.
Just for officials, kind of going back to the decision around Stampede, we've had a chance to review the water usage numbers that the city used to inform that decision. We saw the water use peaking in some days around 670 million liters. All that's around normal for a regular summer. It is significantly higher than the city's threshold. So I'm curious if you can walk Calgarians through that. Is that a concern now that it's past that July 15th?
I'll just say that we've been working with all of our partners on contingencies. Again, the July 5th date is the earliest of the 3 to 5 weeks that we've talked about. And like I mentioned, we're not out of the woods yet. We still have a lot of work to do, and we'll be updating with more information as we go forward. And so we're pleased that we've been working with our partners on those contingency plans as we move through this.
Follow up, Adam? Oh, yeah, sure. Just for a question from a colleague here. Some car washes have been asked to close, but there has not been an order for them to do so. Some are reopening now. What consequences could they face, and does the city have to order it in that case?
We are continuing to ask car washes to close. Now is not the time to be washing cars. We need to do everything we can to conserve water and make sure that we have the water use available for those critical services. So we are asking car washes to remain closed throughout this time.
There's no order at this point. It's voluntary request.
That is correct. There is no order in place for them to close, but we are asking for their cooperation in this.
Radio Canada.
Yeah. Hi, Edith. In terms of water consumption, can we just be sure for the numbers? Does that include the 3 million liters needed to extinguish the fire?
So what that number is based on is the 24-hour period. So that goes up until midnight. So it would include a portion of that water, but we may see some of the numbers come through tomorrow, depending on when that water actually was flowing.
And my follow-up would be, I was at the Baker Park today at the filling station. It was really popular. There was, like, even if it's a Monday, there's a lot of people coming in. Do we have any idea of how many water from the bow the city pumps and redistributed?
So I don't have that number for you. I'm happy to follow up on that number, but we do know that this is a need for Calgarians, and they want to be able to have access to non-potable water. So we are monitoring those sites very closely throughout the day today and the coming days. And if there is a need to add additional sites, we will continue to do that work to make sure that every Calgarian that has the need for that has the opportunity to get some.
Scott Dipple, CBC.
So with regard to like 3 million liters of water being used on one incident like that, like what's the impact in terms of the entire system? Is that something that even causes problems elsewhere in the city in terms of pressure? Or is it just not significant enough? I realize it sounds like a small amount of water compared to the global amount in a 24-hour period. But at that time, that's probably a significant drop.
I can say that due to the great participation of Calgarians in conserving water, we had enough water to obviously deal with that situation that arose last night. The crews could see the water usage as they were monitoring the reservoirs, but the system was stable and we were able to support the water required across the city.
There's been a question with regard to the non-potable water access. Is it believed that that's having an impact overall on water usage, or is that just the pent-up need for it to have some water that's being used in that way? In other words, it's having no impact on the larger consumption.
I'm hopeful it will have impact on the larger consumption. Today will be the first day that we're operating that service in a full day. Yesterday it opened around 1 o'clock for citizens to have that access. So I am hopeful that it does have an impact, but at the end of the day, folks that are following the restrictions are not able to do outside watering, so that this is a way for them to continue to keep their gardens alive and to keep their plants alive by going to one of these points to get water.
I have follow-up questions.
Levi, CTV. Oh, we'll go back to Scott. Just while Chief Henry is there.
I noticed there was an emergency alert this morning. Was that just routine, or was there something specific to today that alert would go out again?
For the critical water in Calgary, so what that is the critical alert expires every 48 hours for us. So we have to continue to reissue that alert. It does not interrupt television and it doesn't push to cell phones, but it's a way for us to keep that alert active and make sure people have the information that they need, that we are still in a critical stage for water.
You have CTV?
This question would be for Acting Fire Chief. Just a couple of questions on the fire.
Thank you.
Can you confirm the fire started on the 3rd floor balcony, and was it from a cigarette that lit a dog bed on fire with the AC unit helping accelerate the fire?
Right now, the fire is under investigation. We still have crews on scene digging through the rubble. We do know that the fire started on the 3rd floor and it progressed to the 4th floor and was wind driven through the attic area. But as for a concrete cause, it's still under investigation at this time.
Okay. And do you know how many pets perished in the blaze? We've heard reports of lost cats and dogs.
Until we've combed through all of that, and I wish I could paint a picture for you of a 4-story condo complex without a roof, and as the walls have kind of sunken in on the sides, we can't even open doors without forcible entry. Of course, we have to be super sensitive to the safety of our folks who are in that building right now. So we're assessing as we proceed through that 3rd and 4th floor in particular, making sure that it's safe enough, and then we're doing a very detailed comb of all of those suites that were most impacted.
Take 2 more folks, one from Mr. MacVicker and one from Roger.
Maybe Mayor could help with the stampede question of your confidence in this, just given it is higher than the threshold of 490 million liters you guys are looking at right now. What gives you the confidence that things will be all right given the water issue and that previous data from those past events?
So I think the most important thing to remember right now is that the timeline we're being given about repairs and return to regular operations is looking at July 5th. And if that's the case, we will be in good shape. If we have to consider other contingencies, we will certainly do that. And it's all indications that if Calgarians continue to do what they have been doing, the work that you and I have been doing to cut down on our water usage, that we'll be in a good place. And I know that our partners in tourism are actively delivering that message to anyone who's visiting in our city right now. And I've spoken to a lot of people who are here from other places saying, we're with you, we are following the same guidelines, we're living like locals while we're here, and we're making sure that we can contribute to saving of water. So I'm very optimistic that we will be in good shape, and we will know more in the next few days.
my last question will be, just as you said, I was speaking a couple weeks ago with swimming club owners that have shelled out a lot of money to continue their activities and comply with the city demand. But to hear some car wash might reopen, what will the city do to help those who are experiencing financial hardship because they decide to comply with the city demand, to help them continue to do so?
At this time, we are not considering financial compensation for the closures. We are asking folks to help us do the right thing and continue to keep the car washes closed. We have asked some of the pools as well to cease operations if they can source alternative potable water from a source that is not the City of Calgary water supply, and they're able to do that without connecting into the city's supply. They are able to refill their pools that way.
All right, folks. With that, turn to the mayor to close.
Thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you for continuing to do all of the incredible work you're doing in saving water. Thanks again to the Calgary Fire Department for your efforts, to the crews that are out there day in and day out, both city workers and contractors. We appreciate everything that you're doing. And to our partners in media, we appreciate you getting this message out to everyone. This is a partnership, it's a collaboration, and we are all pulling together and banding together to get us to a good place as we go through this. So thank you.